blog, the Alliance blog, the Alliance blog, the Alliance blog. Alliance? If you put an S in front of Alliance, you have Alliance. That's me.
Can you believe that there's some people in this world that did not tune in to the Alliance Vlog podcast? Shame on you! Shame on you! My name is Ella Indy, and I'm one half of the NWA Women's World Tag Team Champion, and I'm Kitty Page, the other half of the NWA World Women's Tag Team Champion. And you better go listen to the Alliance Vlog, what is it called again? Podcast, period. Or your Pretty Empowered approved.
Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance Vlog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Pop.
Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby.
Are you ready?
Power.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
I'm building an alliance.
God bless the internet.
Okay, let's party. It's showtime.
It's time for the Alliance Guys podcast with your hosts Kevin Frazier, Jaden, DKM, and J. Cal.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Alliance Guys podcast, a presentation of alliance-wrestling.com, your premier source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. My name is J. Cal. If you're watching on TikTok, that's all you see. But if you're on YouTube or X or on Twitch, you're going to see my pals DKM and Jaden, who wants blueberries. And blueberries are fantastic. I love blueberries. And Claire has joined the TikTok. I see the hearts popping up. So what's up, everyone? How are you doing today?
Claire should do thumbs ups instead.
I don't know that you have that option on TikTok.
Well, obviously she needs to get something where it is an option.
You're quiet, DK. I can't hear you. Speak up a little bit louder.
No.
Oh, fair enough. Do you like the mic? Is that the new mic? You're using it yet?
Not yet.
All right, fair enough. I bought like 2 of those microphones. The first one I had, the I don't know what you call it, the stand broke. And I was like, oh man, I don't want to throw away the microphone just because the stand broke. And then I found like a cheap little camera, what do you call it? Tripod. And I just put the mic on that. And it works pretty good.
Yeah, I gotta clean this desk off before I can put anything on it.
Me too, man. My desk looks like hell right now. I tried to clean up a little bit. You could see we have some new additions here. We've got I moved the TV title up here because it's probably my favorite look for a title. I also have my 6-man tag team title that recently was gifted. There's still the British Commonwealth Championship over here. And, of course, the 10 pounds of gold. The granddaddy of them all, if you will. And, yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and all you need is your baseball.
Fantasy baseball one?
Yeah, that thing.
We might do it, man. We're in 3rd place right now. We've got a pretty solid team. I did a smart thing last year, and I traded draft picks. So instead of having like a good team last year, I traded away some of my best players so that I could have better draft picks this year. I did what the Angels should have done last year, but that's another story altogether. So yeah, we might have that right up here come the fall. And we are also at 4,200 subscribers on YouTube. So when that number hits the 5K, which is absolutely bonkers to me, once I hit 5K, I will add an Alliance YouTube belt up here. And I'm kind of excited about that.
We're going to put your silver YouTube plaque when you get to, is it 100,000?
I'll pull everything off the wall, and it'll go right there in the middle.
I think she could give it to DK, and he can put it right behind his shoulder.
Maybe.
Which one?
The one that doesn't have a pictures of royalty.
Yeah, that'll work. If you thought I was going to replace any of them, you're crazy.
I already knew that wasn't going to happen.
No,
unless there's new royals.
What's that song? We can never be royals.
With aluminum foil.
Man, I discovered something recently, Jaden, and I think you would appreciate this. I took my Dubby,
Yes.
my Peach and Peach Dubby, and I hit it with the soda stream.
Okay.
So now it's fully carbonated.
And the caffeine hits harder.
And it helps when you have an upset tummy. The bubbles feel good on your tummy.
I really, really need to invest in a soda stream because I don't really drink a lot of soda. But man, getting older, there's a lot of foods that I used to be able to eat that just don't like me anymore.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like pizza, one of my favorites.
Oh man, that's rough. I do want to say what's up to everyone in the chat. We got Willie Bowen here, of course. The Willie Bowen joke of the day is this is a pay-per-view event. Rolando Freeman, Tattoo from Fantasy Island, and Grumpy from the Dwarves versus Snap, Crackle, and Pop, and the Kellogg's Rice Krispie Elves.
Okay.
We could go for that.
Snap, Crackle, Pop is what happened to Daga when he was wrestling Tyrus, when his knee went snap, crackle, and pop.
Actually, we were talking about blueberries. Tyrus is what happens when you eat every single piece of that blueberry gum from Willy Wonka.
We just watched that the other day. My youngest Piper,
which one?
Was reading Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I guess
original.
I thought it was a book. I just thought it was the movie, and so we put it on for her. And she was like, "Wow, this is pretty cool." And I said, "Yeah, and you're Veruca." She didn't like that.
Which
Leave
movie?
me lying here because I don't want to go. Yeah, Veruca's all. Yeah. Anyway, which Willy Wonka? I'm assuming the original.
Yeah, that's the only one worth watching. I saw the one with Johnny Depp, and I did not care for it. I haven't even bothered watching the new one just because it doesn't look very good to me at all. Like, at all.
I have also not watched the new one.
I did watch the Johnny Depp one, and it wasn't as horrible as everybody makes it out to be. It's also just not good.
I sure didn't like it. I sure thought it was pretty bad.
Well, I like the effects better than some of the stuff we get, but
well, like okay,
a lot of them in the Gina. What was his name?
The Oompa Loompas.
Gene Wilder.
Gene Wilder. A lot of them in the Gene Wilder version. What you don't know is that a lot of times when you see their expressions, it's literally the first time they've seen it. Those are their actual expressions. And
I liked Gene Wilder's method in performing. I recently found out that it was a deal breaker for him that the first time he wanted to meet the kids, he wanted to be holding a walking stick, a cane, if you will, and wanted it to have that representation of him falling down and then jumping up like nothing was wrong, because he wanted the viewer to think that everything that he says is a lie, so you never really know where you stand with Wonka. And I think that is such a that's what the director should have had him do, because Wonka is a very complex individual.
I loved Gene Wilder best when he was with I just drew a blank. Richard Pryor.
Oh, Hear No Evil, See No Evil.
There's quite a few movies out there him and Pryor do.
They did what, 4 or 5?
I think I think so.
One of my favorite Gene Wilder movies was Blazing Saddles. I know that's can't really watch that movie today, but like, hey boys, look what I found.
Blazing Saddles was a classic. Young Frankenstein was a classic.
Where are all the white women at?
You remember Jimmy Clydesdale?
Yes.
I changed his ringtone to that, and when we were in Camden, I could give him a little text.
I'm assuming Camden doesn't have a lot of white women.
Not of their own free will.
Oh my. Moving through, Steve G's in the chat. He wants us to know that Viva Van versus Tony Storm will take place this Friday on Rampage. For those of you who don't know, Viva Van is I guess she is a Vietnamese-born wrestler who grew up in the United States and has done a lot to kind of promote pro wrestling in Vietnam. She's trained with the Santino brothers. She has spent time with the United Wrestling Network in the past. Also currently works for the Sheik for his company, PCW Ultra. And she has had a few appearances in Mexico and in, I think, for New Japan as well as AEW. So good for her.
You know, by the way, speaking of Veruca Salt, I didn't know she had a brother named Moon.
What was the brother's name?
Moon.
Moon Assault.
Moon Salt. Yeah.
Well, they also had a pet named Battery.
Assault Battery.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I'll workshop it. We'll get there. We'll get there.
That definitely doesn't belong on the your weekly jokes on bucketsforrent.com and the Buckets for Rent weekly dad jokes on Instagram and probably YouTube too.
Yeah, I did set up a YouTube channel just to see what would happen, and there's 72 subscribers, and it's some of these jokes get like 8K views. I'm like, wow. And some of the comments are fun too, because like you'll see the people be like, whose dad is this? Somebody come get their father. It makes me laugh.
And then Claire takes you away with a hook.
Yeah.
And a right hook too.
Yeah. Well, that's Piper. Piper did kickboxing for about a month and a half. And the first time she was hitting the body bag, because they were doing boxing and kicking, right? She goes like this and goes full down and right into the groin of the punching bag. And I'm like, that a girl. Don't let those boys mess with you.
That's nuts.
I don't know. I don't know how to, I can't top that one. So more of the comments, it's just everyone's here. Sean Mega's here. Of course, our pal Luthez is here. Noob is here. Our pal Doty's here. David Valentine with always. David has a lot of like rumors that he likes to pop in the chat, but today he says, why did the Tonga twins leave WoW? Superheroes. Something went down. I don't have like sources that would go on public about it, but I've heard from people that won't go publicly about it say that they were difficult to work with, and we'll leave it at that.
Is David related to your Uncle Greg?
I'm not allowed to talk about Uncle Greg anymore.
Oh.
And then Sam Retro's in the house. What's up, Sam? And of course, all of our friends watching on TikTok, thank you for checking us out.
By the way, check out Sam Retro's Instagram page. It's very funny.
Yeah, man. He has I haven't been to it in a minute, but a lot of cool action figures, a lot of cool wrestling related stuff too.
Yep.
So, hey, just last night, or I guess yesterday afternoon or morning, depending on where you were at in the world, our world's heavyweight champion made his debut in All Japan Pro Wrestling. We've been talking about it for a couple of weeks here on this show. He made his first appearance for All Japan Pro Wrestling, not his first appearance in Japan, but his first appearance in All Japan, and defended the 10 pounds of gold, a feat that hasn't been done since 1989, when Ricky the Dragon Steamboat defended against the original Tiger Mask.
Second Tiger Mask.
Say that again?
Second Tiger Mask.
Oh, you know what? You are correct. You are
correct.
It
was Masala under the mask.
You are correct. Doty, please don't throw a knife at me. 35 years in the making, Doty points out. I was able to find the match online. An unnamed co-conspirator helped me out with that, and I was able to watch the match. And if you are a part of our Discord community, you too can find a way to watch that match. So make sure you check it out. David says All Japan could end up being a territory of the NWA. I don't want to say that they could end up a territory as much as I could see them developing a partnership and a working agreement with each other. I mean,
I just had a thought.
Oh, let's hear it.
Thrillbilly in All Japan.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine? Like, would they just change his name to Silas Bam Bam Mason?
They should have anyway. But God, oh yeah. And then you know who else would do really well in All Japan? The Fixers.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, with 100% certainty, that would be a good idea. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Apparently, my clip didn't download, so I don't have what I was going to show you. DKM had to take off for a second. He'll be back momentarily.
Hopefully, he's getting
says
right
here. Jody says, "Thrillbilly fighting in the champion carnival. My body is ready." Nobody's ready for that, Dodie. None of us can handle that. That would be pretty intense.
It really hurts me that that's the moment I thought about. You literally heard my brain like just go right there, right? About how the Thrillbilly in All Japan. I don't know if Carino is still with them, but Carino would also work well, I think, in All Japan.
Colby? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I think in essence, like there were a lot of missing faces from the Crockett Cup, right? Colby wasn't there. We also didn't see, speaking of, well, I guess I don't want to give out spoilers. I should watch what I say. Let's just say there wasn't a lot of familiar faces. Let me say that differently. There were a lot of familiar faces who weren't there. A lot of people who I would consider NWA talents weren't there. So Sam Retro said, I enjoyed the EC3 match. It was kind of slow paced though.
All right.
We'll talk about that in a minute, but I do want to play this real quick and then we'll talk about it.
All the lights are on. All the cameras are on. Are we just rolling? Are we just rolling? When it comes to rolling, we're talking about the hashtag Overman. We're talking about the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. We're talking about EC3, reigniting history. NWA, All Japan Pro, that is a history rich, a lineage rich. In the honors of names like the Funks, the Flares, the Races, the Rhodes, EC3 has come back to All Japan to reignite that alliance, to recreate that bond, to collaborate what is all good and just in this sport. That is the art of professional wrestling. Now here I stand, for Westerner, yes, living, breathing embodiment. An Alexander the Great, a Julius Caesar, a Napoleon Bonaparte, and a General George Washington. But as a professional wrestler, as the greatest living professional wrestler alive, there is only one word that can describe me. Overman. No further questions.
The Overman. Now in the chat, Sam Retro says the Overman will surpass Aldous, and I think with the news that just broke earlier today, I want to say James H. Jackson is the one that brought it to my attention, but the Overman is over, man, because he's going to be defending the title in France. I don't know who the last NWA champion was to defend in France, but I got to imagine that was a very long time ago, because I don't recall any champion in recent years having defended in France.
I hope he defends it against France's greatest athlete and former NWA champion, Rob Conway.
That probably isn't going to happen, but who else you got?
Frenchie Martin.
Frenchie Martin. What was the other not Canadian? What was the other French wrestler? Sylvain Garnier.
Sylvain Grenier. I sent you guys a picture, though. I don't know if you saw it, of Rene Dupree looking like $1 million. He just had a match come back. think I sent it to your Instagrams.
Oh, okay, I haven't been on Instagram today. Okay, well, I mean, look, there's two guys that would make a obviously good opportunity to challenge. Although I'm sure this wrestling promotion, I believe it is being called BSW, which I don't know what that stands for. We'll learn more about it later, but I'm assuming that means that they have somebody in mind to face the world's heavyweight champion. I got no problem with that. Luthez says EC3 is the Jerry Lewis of pro wrestling.
Freund Laven.
As long as it's not Jerry Lee Lewis, I'm all right with that. Dodie says that the EC3 seems to be a hot commodity traveling away. And Willie Bowen wants to remind us that Frenchie Martin is the brother of Rick the Model Martel.
He is?
Rick Martel was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up.
He beat me to it. I was going to mention that. Yeah.
Was he one of your favorites too, or you remember that I've said that before?
No, I remember that he's one of your favorites.
Yeah.
That's why I send you every time I find a cool Rick Martel match, I send it to you.
That explains why you still do that. Sam Retro points out that Chris Danger used to wrestle in BZW. I seen a few shows. Yeah, I'm not super familiar with Chris Danger or BZW, but hey, man, I think anytime that our world's heavyweight champion is out there traveling, and even on Power this week, Billy mentioned that he had envisioned when he bought the NWA that his champions would be traveling the world. And we saw that in the past. We saw it with Nick Aldis, right? When Nick won the title, the first thing he did was jump on a plane to the United Kingdom and have several title defenses in the UK. At one point, he had more title defenses in the UK than the US. It was kind of interesting. Then he would go on to defend all over the United States, as well as Australia, Canada, and China. He never got to Mexico, which was kind of, felt like low-hanging fruit. Seemed like it should have happened, but never did. But obviously Japan was kind of like a sacred ground, and the NWA was not able to get all this into a Japanese wrestling promotion. Somehow, some way, the Overman has been able to get himself in the United Kingdom. He's got himself booked in France. We know that he'll be in Australia in about 2 weeks. And next week he'll be in my backyard. That guy is literally defending the title all over. And Jaden is someone who, in the past you had a working relationship with the National Wrestling Alliance. What does that mean as a promoter and as someone who is responsible for putting events together? Like when you can have a guy like EC3 who has had a lot of success in some more higher recognized wrestling promotions like the WWE and TNA. Now having that guy wear your belt, and not only wear your belt, but having him defend that title all over, literally all over. What does that do for your promotion? What would that for a dog?
Well, first of all, I've really never had a relationship with the NWA. Dr. Zirconium did. Despite the rumors Cage Match saying that they were the same person, Cage Match got it wrong, which is why you should never use Cage Match as your source of information for wrestling, or how to book your wrestling promotion. But I'm very happy to see EC3 doing everything he can. Yes, he's got recognition with a little bit with the NXT and WWE. He's got some with Impact Wrestling /TNA. He's really works hard to get his name out there. He works with Ohio Valley Wrestling and is seen on their TV. He works with the NWA and goes traveling around to all these different countries. Let's see. Let me see if I can count it right. Has he been to Canada yet?
I don't think he has.
So he hasn't done Canada yet. I know he was scheduled, but I think he was hurt. So he hasn't done Canada yet. But he's done Japan. He's working on France. He's working on Australia. He hasn't done Mexico yet, but that may be coming. He hasn't done Puerto Rico, even though technically that's not another country. But I think that's something we'll probably see in the future.
They had that event where they did kind of work together. So I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we see the world's heavyweight champion in Puerto Rico, but nothing has happened yet.
I think he's friends with Chris Masters. So
Yes.
that also may be somebody who could open a few doors to make that happen. I know he's not on the best of terms with the NWA anymore, but I still think he realizes the value of having an NWA champion, maybe against a World Wrestling Council champion, something to build up into the future. So I think that's something I also think we'll see in the future. But you know what? He's putting the miles in. He's doing everything he can to put himself and the NWA in such a high regard and a highlight. I know a lot of the smarks don't like him. The Big Chris dogs, they don't really like him that much. But he has the ability to get over to the common people because he looks like a wrestler.
Yeah.
To the people who aren't necessarily the 3,000 people who never have been in any foreign countries because they don't leave their mom's basement. There's a difference between that. You're gonna smell a lot of them when we go to the formerly known as ECW Arena in August.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, but anyway, before I go further on EC3, if Puyo or anybody in NWA is listening, Jay's dragging me to this 50th or 60th or 75th or 76th, or I don't even know.
The spirit of 76. It's how you can remember.
Yeah, that thing. NWA, look, I know I don't work for you, but if you send me some stuff, you just get my address, send me posters, I'll put them up everywhere because I want that place to be packed. And so I want Jay to get a full experience of all the smell of the ECW arena. But seriously, if I have to go, I want it to be packed, and hopefully they'll give me something worthwhile to in the ring to make it worth my while. But I'll do it for free, won't ask nothing. I just do it because I'd want Jay to see a packed arena and how cool of an experience it is, even if it is. It isn't the ECW, but it's still an awesome experience to witness.
How big is packed?
1,700 legally, I think. Jay,
I did get to see an ECW show once. It was on the West Coast, and it was at the Grand Olympic Auditorium, which to me that's sacred ground here in Southern California. That is a Korean church at the moment.
Yeah,
it probably will be for the foreseeable future. But for one night, for your boy Jay, I got to see wrestling in the place that my mom and my grandfather went and saw wrestling. And it was a very special moment for me. And I'm not going to get teary-eyed over it. I also went and saw XPW there, which was the total drizzling shits. And I was there the night that New Jack almost killed some guy. But I left before that match because I just wasn't having any fun at an XPW show. So there you have it.
There you have it.
Sam Retro goes, ECW, boo. Doty points out that Chad Gable's contract will be up. If he doesn't renew his contract, I would love for Billy to give a call.
Chad Gable's hot properties right now. No, there's no way the W is going to let him go.
No, and we just saw it with what blew my mind. Like, of course, I know this. We aren't a WWE podcast. We don't talk about the WWE a lot, but we end up somehow getting to it. Of course, the big thing that I think is really interesting right now is that we're seeing NXT be kind of becoming its own, like, forbidden door, at least a gateway to other things. Like we just saw Jordan Grace make her return to WWE programming after the Royal Rumble. She debuted as the Knockouts champion. They did mention that on air when she showed up at the Royal Rumble. And then, of course, it's going to be she's going to wrestle at Battleground for the NXT brand and is challenging for that NXT Women's Championship against Roxanne Perez, I guess.
Yeah, I think she used to be the Roxy from Booker T School.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. From that element, we're seeing a TNA talent appearing in NXT, and then for like maybe the 5th or 6th time, we're seeing a talent from NXT making an appearance for Reality Wrestling. That's Booker T's promotion down there in Houston, where the artist formerly known as Brian Pillman Jr. will be making his way down there. And it's not, like I said, it's not the first time an NXT talent has been there, but Lexus King will make his debut on June the 8th, which is next week, for Reality Wrestling. So, again, it's pretty cool that a lot of these doors are opening up in the world of professional sport, professional wrestling. And then the other thing, too, is like, it was a couple months ago we saw, oh gosh, I forgot his name. Number 10, you guys know who I'm talking about.
Ty Dillinger.
Ty Dillinger. He goes by something else now. He goes by his real name.
Sean something.
Sean Spears. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sean Spears showed up in the WWE in NXT, and then just last night, Ethan Page also showed up in the NXT arena. So it's like we are starting to see some of that glorious Monday Night Wars between Raw and Nitro, when you were seeing talent jump ship. Even ECW was involved. We would see ECW talents get signed by one or two of the promotions.
And so NWA.
Huh?
And NWA.
Yeah, and NWA. And we're starting to see that again. So it kind of gets exciting. Of course, we know there will be talent cuts and people will become free agents. But I think it's just a fun time for pro wrestling.
Can we speak about the World Championship match?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got all over the place. Just to let you know, DK, you are muted. But so we did have, okay, fair enough. So we did have our World's Heavyweight Champion defend in Japan. And like I said, friends on our Discord, on the Alliance Blog Discord, which the link is in the video description, you could head over and check it out. We made that available to you guys only through Discord. It was a fun match. It's not what I was expecting, but I would love to hear your thoughts on this one. It was the first really big international title defense for EC3. And again, going back to sacred ground of All Japan Pro Wrestling with its past history and past relationship with the NWA, this was a big deal. Jane, tell me about it.
Actually, I want to hear DK's thoughts first before I go. Are you able to talk, DK, or are you still choking like the Philadelphia Flyers in a playoff game? Or actually, probably the Maple Leafs?
We'll see as it goes. I did watch the match. It was slow moving, a little bit plodding, but that kind of fits some of the style they have there. And overall, I thought it was. I thought the match was okay. Didn't wow me, didn't disappoint me. I thought it was good for EC3 to be there. And I thought that was good. And I thought I think it was after he did a promo.
Yeah.
And I thought that was the highlight, actually.
Yeah, Jay actually posted the promo on here, and I did enjoy that promo too.
Yeah.
I do agree with DK, but a couple of things people don't realize. First of all, it's very taxing to have to travel to Japan. It is very taxing on your body. Jay knows because he traveled to China.
That's a commute.
Jet lag is a real thing. The change of daylight is a real thing. The culture and the food and everything else is a real something if you're not used to. Also, when you wrestle a Japanese wrestler, especially if it's your first time wrestling in Japan, or at least the first time in a while wrestling in Japan, or maybe one of the first times wrestling a Japanese wrestler, it's a styles difference, the styles clash that unless because of the language barrier and everything else, you have to get used to. I think if EC3 goes there more often, he'll be able to adapt better to both the travel, especially if he's there for like a longer period of time, and to wrestle against the Japanese wrestlers, especially because All Japan is a little different than New Japan, because New Japan's a lot more Americanized now.
Yeah.
So I think that's something I think we'll see with time he will get better at. Plus, he hasn't for a while been a fast moving wrestler. He has been more methodical, more measuring in every one of his moves. He reminds me more of Greg Valentine than Ric Flair, your uncle. So that's, that's, I think, something we have to realize. He's not exactly anymore the bumping, high-flying machine that he was in the past. He's also been around for a lot longer than people realize. He was in the WWE system for a very long time before he went to TNA to be EC3. And he's been around, he's smart and he knows how to work, and his bump card is a lot more limited than when he was younger. So he has to make sure he makes each one of those bumps mean something. And I know a lot of those people that who've never been to Japan, and the closest they get is getting their waifu pillow and bringing it to bed with them.
Oh my God.
But,
waifu.
Ooh. Anyway,
oh, God. Good night, everybody.
It is very All Japan and New Japan aren't the same thing, and a lot of people want to see all those crazy high flying stuff. And those guys, obviously, if they were in a wrestling ring, if they took one bump, they'd probably be paralyzed.
Yeah.
For some reason, I'm very anti fan right now. At least that type, but whatever. Just an opinionated mood today, I guess. And I want some blueberries. Damn it!
Blueberries sound amazing. I had grapes earlier today, and grapes are good and all, but they are not blueberries.
No.
I want to go through the chat real quick because there's some interesting discussion going on. Sam Retro said, "Is the All Japan defense bigger than the Aldous China defense?" And Luthez agreed with me, and I said 100%. I said China is cool in that it was the first time it ever happened. That's a big deal. No matter what ever happens again, Aldous was always the first to take the 10 pounds of gold to China. But the significance of going to China is that it was kind of like discovering something new, whereas taking the title to All Japan is being recognized as worthy. It's recognized as value. Whereas in China, there isn't a lot of wrestling promotions, and there certainly isn't a nationally recognized promotion that is featured heavily on their TVs and has a history of this great wrestling where, in Japan, you have Pro Wrestling Noah, New Japan, and All Japan Pro Wrestling, all fighting for eyeballs, all fighting for viewership. And we're talking about, Tokyo. We're talking about Japan, which is not very big considering for the dense population that it has. So if All Japan is using their resources to put EC3 in a match where he gets to defend the 10 pounds of gold, that they acknowledge, the 10 pounds of gold, they acknowledge that world's heavyweight championship. I mean, that's a really big deal. And I don't think there's anything quite like that. We could look at, when the NWA did have its relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, and you did see, Conway and Kojima and Tenzin and Jack Stain and Big Daddy Yum Yum, they were all battling for the 10 pounds of gold during that time. Yeah, it was a very big deal back then. But again, China was unique because it was the first time, but Japan was really, a big promotion like All Japan or New Japan Pro Wrestling. To me, it's a way bigger deal. Would you agree with that?
Yes and no. I think you're overestimating and underestimating at the same time.
All right.
I think you're underestimating how important the Chinese deal is.
Okay.
The problem is, I don't think the NWA and other companies marketed it and promoted it and pushed it as a big deal as it was. I'm not even sure I've even seen the match. I might have. I don't remember. But that should have been promoted everywhere in the NWA, something the NWA doesn't do well, at least the late one era. That should have been promoted everywhere in the championship wrestling from Hollywood circles. That should have been pushed everywhere as a big deal for something to happen. First time ever, the NWA championship in Japan, the championship wrestling for Hollywood going to Japan. And Japan is China. China is starting to get a bigger and bigger wrestling presence out there nowadays. And they WWE just recently released I believe a wrestler from China.
Yeah.
and I think one from Hong Kong too, which they don't necessarily get along. And by the way, Hong Kong is a country.
And we just got canceled in China. Thanks.
Yes, ting ting. No, that's a long story. It's a long story with the wrestler China.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. No, it's too long to explain. But China, one night in China.
No.
Yeah. But anyway,
maybe I should have stayed away.
You probably should have stayed away. I think it should have been a bigger deal, and it could have been a bigger deal if they were able to capitalize it on more. And it really is. But the All Japanists, anybody who is a classic All Japan fan who enjoyed and really wanted to see the Ricky Steamboat versus Tiger Mask 2 match, and really thought it was such a cool thing to watch that on videotape. That's how old I am, because I do still have it somewhere as on a videotape. It's really cool for us fans who are old school, who want to see a Japanese wrestling promotion that's actually more like wrestling like we enjoy, and not the modern garbage wrestling that is out there nowadays.
That's fair. That's fair. I do see there's more comments. I want to get to some of them because there's a lot of All Japan talk here, and I don't want to ignore it. But let's see. Getting back to it, Sam Retro said, I saw the match. It was kind of slow paced, though. Lou said Thrillbilly would own the crowd just running the ropes in his fringe jacket. Doty brings up Colby would be a good fit for All Japan, too. And Thrillbilly should be considered the opponent for Yuma Enzai, who is the Triple Crown champion in All Japan. More comments that I missed is the match is okay. However, it's an old school as it gets. All Japan, Noah, and New Japan main event scenes somehow rely on a more faster and more intense match, so it will be divisive. EC3 was really good and respectful to the Japanese in his promo. Willie Bowen is an All Japan fan. Sam says he's a new All Japan fan. Doty says that Kenta Miyahara versus Yuma Enzai is a banger. Yuma Enzai for NWA 76. That I don't know if that's going to happen, but that would be pretty cool if it could. All Japan Pro Wrestling is more of a strong style of wrestling. Doty says no, it's more of King's Road. And then Lutha says, careful what you say about my Miko, Jaden. I think that was a waifu reference. I do want to point this out. We were talking about EC3 being this world traveler and how we were surprised and excited to see that he's going to be wrestling in Italy in July. In France in July. He's also going to be wrestling in Italy in July. In fact, the next night he'll be wrestling in is that Elias or Ezekiel? What's his name now? I don't know. He's on the cover there. And then also later in the month of June, the world's heavyweight champion will be facing the Midwest champion in a promotion outside of the NWA, as EC3 will take on Pretty Boy Smooth on Saturday, June 8th. That's funny. That's the night before he comes to California. So, if he holds that title, if he retains that title, I'll see him when he makes his return to California. But I mean, that's what we wanted. That's what Billy said he wanted for his world champion, is to be the guy that gets out there and defends the title all across the country. And we're getting that with EC3. And DK, I got to ask you, I mean, what are your thoughts on seeing EC3 getting out there, making these title defenses, doing what he can to kind of carry the NWA banner?
Well, that's what he needs to do. That's what they all need to be doing. And I understand that, the other titles aren't as prestigious as the NWA World Heavyweight title, but, Kenzie needs to go anywhere that will take her.
Yeah.
King Bees have been defending their title here in Texas. And I know there was a promotion either in Canada or the Northeast that was looking at bringing them in at one time. Don't know whatever happened with that. Joe Alonzo, anywhere he can get would be good. But again, I think sometimes this is the problem you face when you put title on somebody like Joe Alonzo. Colby Carino is somebody who could probably go, get more coverage in different places. And of course, the original Homicide could have, gotten booked more places probably. It doesn't look like a blueberry, Jaden. And so, yeah, I mean, this is what needs to happen. And the tag team champions too, but I understand the tag team championship was a little harder to get out because you got to bring two people in, you got to pay two people. I don't know where I know one of them's in Texas. I don't know where the other one's based out of. So
I thought they were from parts unknown.
The rumor is one of them's from Texas. I don't know what the
other
rumor
one is from Chicagoland.
So, may not be as easy to bring in that as a team, but I don't know. I suppose the question is, now what?
I just realized I'm right now a normal a normal X wrestling fan, formerly known as Twitter.
Woo woo.
I got a girl picture of a Japanese cartoon character and a funny name, and I'm a dude.
Oh my God, you're an AEW fan.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, the world has ended. But one question for you is, okay, so obviously EC3 retained the title in Texas. We're not breaking any big news here. And so are we suffering a little bit of, man, if he's going to be everywhere defending the title, or, I don't even know if he's going to be at the territory.
Yeah, he is going to be at the territories representing Exodus Pro and, of course, the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. I was just making this point during the pre-party last week. So we have this territory event that's happening this, I believe it's Saturday, right? We're going to have the return to the territories. And on this flyer, you see Joe Alonzo with the Junior Heavyweight Championship. You see Kenzie with the Women's World Championship. On other flyers, you'll see, each individual talent set up for the shows. So, are there spoilers in this poster? It certainly feels like it. There's the poster for the 76, which I have the more tamed poster. The other poster has the talents, has Blunt Force Trauma with the tag titles, has Joe Alonzo with the junior heavyweight title, like King Bees with their tag titles, et cetera, et cetera. And I feel like, this poster, of course, card is always subject to change and posters can be modified, but you're advertising, your world's heavyweight champion who has this date set for August 31st. And there's no guarantee, Jesus, Booker of the Year. There's no guarantee that he'll be world champion then. And, even the flyer for Looks Can Kill, what do we see here? This is December 14th, the 2 weeks to the end of the year. And you've got Idol, you've got Max, you've got the Overman, and you've got the Vancombe lady, Natalia Markova. So it's there's a lot of moving parts that are happening, and I kind of feel like with the results taking so long to get here, they're spoiling the shows before we have a chance to see them.
Which is worse, spoiling before or spoiling while you're watching them?
I guess spoiling them before. Because I kind of understand, so DK and I were at in Forney, Texas for the Crockett Cup. And we saw a lot of things that didn't gel with what we've been seeing on TV. And the thought was, okay, it's not that big of a deal. You know, you get used to it. You understand what's going on. They don't really explain it, but you kind of through context, you kind of understand what's happening. And some of those storylines are already starting to play out on the NWA programming as of this week. At least we were there to have this stuff spoiled. It would have sucked to, have it spoiled on TV, I guess.
Yeah, it's difficult because you don't really know what's going on. One of the things that made me sad about the Crockett Cup is that, with the exception of Looks That Kill, the first round went almost exactly the way you would have thought it should have gone. So, there were no big upsets. There were no surprises. And I don't know that I liked that. It seems like there should have been one that wasn't just, and the one that it was one I didn't like anyway, because it was a mixed tag team. And so I kind of felt like it would have been a little bit more cool. The other thing is, I guess I did watch Power this week, and so they were setting up Alex Taylor for the junior heavyweight title. So it's like, I assume they're going to probably do that for the rest of this thing. Of course, spoiler alert, that doesn't happen. And it's weird watching it now. I have a hard time watching the show.
Yeah,
it's like I kind of already know what's going to happen, and I already see where things that are planned aren't going to happen. And so I don't know. It's just beyond weird for
me. Dodie just says, hey, look, let's get to the point, Jay. DK, was the Crockett Cup good?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed watching the show. I don't know how it's going to come across on TV.
It's weird in that
I've seen the results out there, but it's important to note that the results aren't in the order that the matches took place. Whoever sent them in did formatted them by type of match or something. And so that's not the order they took place. It was good, but you were left confused a lot. You weren't sure what was going on.
And I think the other thing to kind of keep in mind too about that is, without the context, you kind of miss a few things, right? Like, so a lot of this was presented to us without context, and like there were changes to the card that obviously we weren't made aware of beforehand, and they didn't really explain it. But on television, they're going to have backstage interviews. And because this was filmed for 4 weeks of television, we're going to have lots of wrestling that builds up to it. I mean, the Crockett Cup is going on right now, right? They filmed matches a month ago that are leading up to the Crockett Cup. So it's not going to be a one-night tournament or two-night tournament like we had been used to in the past. It's going to be a multi-night tournament that will be on television and highlighted as such, instead of like I feel like the way it should be presented, it was more of like a one-night special event or two-night special event where it's given to you all at once. You're not getting that this time around. And it was actually kind of a smart move for them to do that by having some of the tournament matches filmed back in April. When they filmed for the Crockett Cup, that gave them more wiggle room so that it didn't just have to be Crockett Cup matches that were filmed. They could film, women tag team matches. They could film, other titles being defended without, dominating the night with a tag team tournament, which they could have done that, in the past like that. So.
But I've been to 2 live shows under Billy.
Hard Times and Crockett Cup.
Yeah. And I enjoyed Crockett Cup more than I enjoyed Hard Times in 22.
Okay, so technically you've been to 3 NWA events. You went to the night after Hard Times as well.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. I counted all of them.
Yeah, so I kind of agree with you. I felt like Crockett Cup. Look, it delivered in a lot of areas. Most of the best of which is that we didn't see Tyrus win a world title that night, so that was a plus. Yeah, I think you guys will like it. I think there was some good wrestling. Some of the shit is convoluted, like always. Some of it's just that's Billy's booking, and whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it because that's what's going on.
Probably the only thing that if I were to like complain would be because it's TV. Some matches don't get the time you think they should get.
Yeah.
And in particular, like EC3 versus Rudo, it was like the finish kind of came out of nowhere. And so did the national title.
And I would add to that too. I would add to that those there didn't feel like a sense of urgency in either of those matches where like it was just like, okay, we're just gonna go out there and work.
Okay.
Yep. And it just ended.
Yeah. It was very abrupt. And when watching EC3 apply his trade on the independents or an All Japan Pro Wrestling, I feel like you're getting a different version of EC3 as opposed to the one who's defending the 10 pounds of gold on Power. Because that's essentially what this has become. It's just a TV taping. So it's not exactly, it's not pure sport. It's also it's a televised product, so they have to produce it in that way.
And I'm a little sad that there was one horrific match that got far more time than it needed.
The guy sitting next to us said, "Hey, can I get up and go?" And DK and I both looked at him and said, "Yeah, man, go get yourself some food. Get up and go because you're not going to miss anything with this one."
Yeah. What else is going on in the world?
Tony Khan's real daddy's now on the screen.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if Steve G's in the chat, but Steve G, we added the hat up to we added the hat on the merch store. Now there's 3 hats available. James H. Jackson said, I can see why Dave Marquez wants to do a live show. If you're not live, there's no way to avoid all this type of stuff from happening. I think the live part of pro wrestling, it's a two-edged sword, right? Because your cost to produce live wrestling grows infinitely by trying to go, tape to live, as opposed to, like recording the show live and then airing it later. I feel like that's a very challenging prospect of doing the live shows. You're right that there's no spoilers involved, but there's also, little to no wiggle room for mistakes. You got to remember, at this level, even the NWA included, we're still not talking about, the major leagues of pro wrestling. I know that's going to rub people the wrong way, but the NWA, United Wrestling Network, MLW, it's still kind of a couple ranks below what the WWE is able to do, what TNA Wrestling is able to do, what whether you like it or not, what AEW is able to do. There's not that budget, there's not that same backing behind it. So yeah. So to get back to the crux of this discussion, the Crockett Cup I think is going to be fun. I think you guys will enjoy it. There are some matches that like DK and I have both said just are stupid and no fun. But for the most part, I think the tournament was good. I think the title matches were good. I think you'll be surprised who ends up winning the Crockett Cup. And I had more fun than I was anticipating because we went in pretty blind. So what else is happening in the world of pro wrestling? Oh, we just lost Jaden. we talked about the TNA crossover with the NXT. Obviously, that's opening up some forbidden doors. The rumor is now that the New Day want to head over to TNA to get a chance to wrestle for those tag titles, which I think would be a lot of fun. And then they also said they want to do stuff with Joe Hendry, like make a song, which I also think is fun. There used to be a rumor or speculation that perhaps the WWE would have NXT talent work with the NWA. DK, is that something that you think is still a viable option? Is that something you think could still happen?
Probably not right away. It could over time. The problem with these type of arrangements is that unless you win half the matches, it's not to your benefit. And if it's always a case of my people are going to beat their people in a title match and their people are going to beat my people in a title match, then again, it'll take about 4 weeks and your name's going to be as out there as it's going to be. And then, so after that, you got to be competitive. But I don't think it does WWE or anyone any good to be working with 5 different people at once.
Yeah.
I think that's too confusing. That's too much going on. And it shows how diluted, titles and everything are. And so it's better work with NXT for a year or 2 years or, whatever.
Yeah.
And then maybe you work with NWA and then, maybe you work with MLW or whoever. I don't think it's beneficial for like MLW and NWA to work together because they're on similar levels. And so by the time you get to that, you're getting to the niche fans who are going to follow whatever they follow.
I have a friend who is a wrestler. I won't mention him by name, but he recently moved out of the area, and he was telling me what his plans are, and he had kind of like a bucket list of things he wanted to do. And on the last line of his bucket list was challenge for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. Now, this is a guy who hasn't really spent very much time in the NWA, really zero time in the NWA, but that's still something that he would like to do himself. But that doesn't mean that NXT is the best fit for working with the NWA, or even now at this point. I kind of feel like if you are, like what DK was saying, if you're MLW, I don't think it would make sense to work with the NWA. Working with CMLL, you're working with a promotion that has a much broader reach. You can bring in their talents, and they are superstars and will help draw numbers for you. But we have to be honest with ourselves, and we have to be realistic and say, okay, what name in the NWA currently can you put on any event and he's going to sell, or she is going to sell tickets? Can you think of one, Jaden?
Silas Mason. He can cut a promo and sell tickets.
Oh my God, Kenny! I don't have that lined up, but
anyway, the EC3 with the NWA Gold. The Gold will still sell on WWE TV to some people.
And I think even EC3 as a person could sell on certain levels. But yeah, the one person who could get you what you really want, which is somebody who can talk fans into the building, is Silas. He has an old-fashioned promo skill that's lost on many of today's people.
Yeah.
And he knows how to get you into a building. I'm actually kind of sad we didn't get to see him for Crockett Cup, spoiler. And it's just people need to pay attention to him.
Agreed.
Where's he out of again?
He's out of like the Tennessee area. I think part of the reason why JCP uses him so much is because he literally lives like in the next town over, where it's a very close commute for him. Did you see? I don't know if I posted it up yet or not, but did you see? Jody says, "Silas, you're my friend now, Jaden."
Yeah. Silas needs to be in All Japan. I don't know if you were there when I just suddenly had the epiphany of that happening.
Yeah,
but that definitely needs to happen.
Well, when you look at the roster, I think who more than Silas? Colby would be a good choice as well. I do agree with you like that, but like think about it. Would Joe Alonzo be a difference maker in All Japan? And that's not to shit on Joe Alonzo. It's just I don't think that's his bag, baby.
If he went, I think he can make him better. I don't know if it'll help the All Japan Pro Wrestling, but I think it'll help Joe Alonzo. And that championship belt still seen might mean a little bit.
That's fair. I think I try to think about that roster, and I look up and down. Like, would Tom Latimer have an impact in All Japan Pro Wrestling the way Silas Mason could?
I think he could. Maybe not as good at a promo. Maybe not that. See, physically, I think Silas stands out more than Tom Latimer because Tom Latimer is just a very big, strong guy. Nothing against that. I mean, I don't look like that. I look 10 times better. But, Silas looks different in a good way.
Okay.
And he sounds different and he acts different. And I think that'll be something that'll get really, really over in All Japan Pro Wrestling, his promo. Latimer is a good hand. I've actually softened on him. I didn't like him for the longest time, but I've become softened and more interested in watching him now. Take back some of my trash talk on him, but a little bit, just a tad. But I think he'll be good for All Japan. I think All Japan will be good for him, but I don't think right now, I think other than EC3, the only wrestler that can really, really, really make a big impact in All Japan would be Silas Mason, even though I would also like to see Homicide. I think Homicide would enjoy that too.
All right.
Silas is a throwback. Remember, All Japan's the land of Hanson and Brody and Gordy and
Doc and Gordy,
and Steve Williams and some of those, and it's just like that's what am I trying to say? He's a throwback to that, so I think he could, and his ability to talk, even if you don't understand English, I think he can still manage to talk you into the building. Yeah,
I think so.
To quote the youngins of today, the man has riz.
I was trying to find that promo, and I don't think I'm going to be able to pull it up. But the promo that he had, again, it's kind of funny when they're in that Tennessee area, the Eastern Tennessee. Like he'll get on. Joe Kazana somehow has a hotline to the TV channels, and they get those guys on there. And you got like DK said. He knows Silas, knows how to talk you into the building. You had Kenzie Page, who I think is a very solid wrestler. I feel like maybe she has the least amount of riz in the group of Pretty Empowered, but she does have the resume. Like she is a former TV champion. She's the now current women's world champion. She said something that kind of bothered me though. To sell the pay-per-view, she said that she is the first NWA territory owner that's a female. And I said, well, if we're going to ignore Eileen Eaton and the LaBelle family out here in Southern California, then I guess that's true. But I still applaud that they're trying to get out there the old fashioned way, getting on TV, talking about what they're doing. And, we're literally just 2 days away from that show. And again, this is the last show until the anniversary, so they need to have a big moment, I think, and I hope they get it. I guess the next question. Oh, jeez. I don't. So my camera's up here, right, and my screen is right here. So I don't always see what Jaden's doing behind my back here. So I pop when I see it because it's funny. The next thing I guess we should discuss is they're going to crown a new champion on Saturday at the returning to the territory. They're going to crown a new Mid-American champion. Now they haven't decided or determined how that champion is going to be crowned, but is there somebody on the roster, DK, that makes sense to you that should be the guy that can not only carry the title on the territories, but also maybe someone who could bring that title to Power?
I really don't know. My understanding is it's going to be like a four-man scramble or something.
Oh, okay. You've heard more about it than I have, apparently.
Well, I think I paid attention to the video at the studio.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, but who, what, when, all that. Well, when, as we know, but I'm not sure how they've decided the 4 people. And this is supposed to be like an NWA title, as in not a territory title, but it's going to be the title that the territories share. So that's a little bit confusing to me, and so, yeah, I don't know how much it's going to be on Power, or if it's not going to be on Power, or what. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it and how they use it. Why does Jaden have Uncle Fester with the Muppets?
There's 2 rock stars in this picture and Billy Corgan.
No, I'm pretty sure that's Uncle Fester. I recognize the rock stars. I'm pretty sure the bald guy in the middle is Uncle Fester.
Okay. I was thinking of the Cenobite.
We're losing today's show. If you guys have still hung around and are here with us, God bless you, because
pay attention to my changes. That's the entertainment part. Oh, a promo.
You guys hear
Why
it,
is
though?
Kenzie Page looking like a 90-year-old grandmother in a sundress?
That's right.
Thanks for being here, guys.
Well, we appreciate you having us back this year.
All right, well, we got Joe Kazana here, the only Greek cowboy.
The only Greek cowboy on the face of God's green earth. That's it.
All right, so tell me about what you're doing this weekend, because this is your brainchild.
Basically, what we're doing this weekend is we're bringing the territories.
Okay.
Billy Corgan, the owner of the National Wrestling Alliance, reformed all the territories with I think we have 6 different territories now. I take care of NWA, Joe Kazana Promotions.
Okay.
Kenzie Page down here, our world champion.
World champion, yeah.
She takes care of Crossfire, which is up in Sevierville.
Okay.
The country gentlemen right here, these are my 2 kids. Probably the best tag team in the National Wrestling Alliance at this point. Silas Mason, the largest man in the world. NWA JCP Southeastern.
They don't make them like this.
They don't. He's the heavyweight
they don't
champion.
make them like this anymore.
Former national champion. Now Kenzie down here, she knocked off Camille almost a year ago, who held the championship for over 800 days.
Wow.
So that says something for Kenzie Page right here. But what we're doing is we're bringing this show back to Carnes. Portion of the proceeds is going to go to help the athletic department. Okay. So that's why we're bringing it here. Plus, we're bringing the best professional wrestling company and the best professional wrestlers in all the United States and the world to East Tennessee, because nobody, and I will say this, and I will say it a million times, nobody can touch the National Wrestling Alliance. So I'm going to turn it over to these guys right here, because these are the talkers.
Well, now, Kenzie, you put Abby in a headlock last year. I like you.
Yes, I did put her in a headlock. Watch out.
Yeah.
And you're a world champion.
Yes, so I'm the youngest ever NWA World Women's Champion and the first woman to ever own a territory within the National Wrestling Alliance.
Well, how about that?
This is very important for me, my family, and all of us. So very happy to be here and thankful to be a part of it.
All
I think Aiden Gunko might say something against
Tell
that.
me what's going on over here. Tell me about this belt.
You want me to tell you about the NWA?
Yeah, tell me about the belt.
JCP Southeastern Heavyweight Championship of the World.
Yeah, we want to hear it.
This title, I've held this title for over 2 years, darling. There ain't been a man that God has built that can knock me down, and I'll tell you that right now. And I know when we were talking earlier, you said you wanted to hold on to the largest arms in Blount County.
I gotta feel this.
Oh, yeah.
There you go, right there.
She wants to touch the biggest man who's ever lived. But, darling, we're going to save that for when we're off the air, because when we're on the air, we got to be professional. And this title will be on the line. Where?
Carnes
High School. When? June 1st. What? The National Wrestling Alliance back to the territories, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
And there's only 2 reasons you shouldn't go. And that's if you're in jail or if you're dead.
Oh, there you go.
And if you're in jail, you can break out, brother.
Now, that's a hard act to follow.
Oh, these guys can follow it. There's no doubt.
We're not supposed to follow that. I don't think we can. Oh, like you said, we're the greatest rising tag team in the National Wrestling Alliance. Knoxville based.
Second best. Southern sucks.
Southern sucks. Knoxville based with these 2, right? So we've got some of the best professional wrestlers in East Tennessee, hell, the country. The world. Hey, the world of East Tennessee. I go that far, but
get it right.
It's
the universe.
No, it's hard to follow Silas Mason when he's dressed in a $5,000, I can only assume, shirt, $2 fanny pack, and a $6 sunglasses. So, no, Carnes High School is the place to be. I don't know what we've got in store. I don't know what you've got in store. Apparently, you're defending that. I'm assuming you're defending that. I assume we'll wrestle at some point. So,
well, you never know. BFT's right around the corner. They're the World Tag Team Champions, so why not?
Right. You never know what you're going to get. Well, that's my alma mater. Go Beavers. So I'm really excited.
Go Beavers!
Let me just lay one more thing out there to you folks. The NWA, William Patrick Corgan, is also bringing back the Mid-American Championship.
Okay.
There will be a 4-man scramble, I believe, top tournament for that championship. And representing NWA JCP is none other than Jeremiah Plunkett. And he has been around all over the world. He's probably one of the greatest professional wrestlers there is, other than the largest man in the world, Silas Mason.
He's happy.
And the country gentleman. I get it wrong every time.
I like Jeremiah Plunkett.
It's a place to be Saturday night.
That's right.
Doors open at 6. My God, ticket prices start at $10. How can you not come out?
Can't beat it.
And not have a great night of family entertainment with the stars of the National Wrestling Alliance right here.
It's going to be a big time. Again, $20 ringside, $10 for general admission. Come out and see these guys. You don't want to miss it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here today.
Thank you.
It's gonna...
Well, if I had my shit, I would have had that.
What do you have against beavers? They're a noble creature.
I've got nothing against beavers. I love beavers. They're
So I've heard.
part of a healthy diet.
That's where you get vanilla from.
Isn't it? Yeah, like I heard that. Like the vanilla flavoring is like expressed through a beaver gland.
Yes. Is that where you
heard
get
of
sweet
it.
vanilla Scentsy from?
Oh my god. You son of a bitch, you keep her name out of your mouth.
Well, I'm done for the night. Thank you, folks.
I think you set yourself up for that one.
Yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up here a little bit because I know DK's not feeling so great, and we're kind of.
I think it's the best he's sounded for in a long time, since last time he had himself muted.
That's true. So, but let's look at Silas Mason's promo there. All right.
Sure.
He did everything you're supposed to do.
Oh my god.
I mean,
sorry, Dodie popped me because he said he remembers Sweet Vanilla Scentsy.
Former sponsor of the Alliance Guys podcast.
They were.
We're
Alliance-Wrestling.com. Sorry.
Yeah. Anyhow,
Elias's promo.
Elias.
Silas.
Sorry. It's been a long week.
But you know, he made sure to hit and said it, you know, when, where, why. There's no excuse not to be there. Jail or dead, those are no excuses, and you can break out of jail. And so, is flirting with the host. I mean, that's just, what he nailed everything you should do if you're making that type of appearance.
That host wanted to throw a ride.
She wanted to throw a ride. I think you're right. Her husband's probably somewhere right now having a conniption fit, realizing he can never live up to the Thrillbilly.
Silas just let him hold on to the belt while he wins the championship of the bedroom.
That's right. Meanwhile, Jay's distracted by things.
My daughter just sent me a photo of Sweet Vanilla with a Hulk Hogan filter on it, and it made me laugh. I would share it with you guys, but that might be sudden death for me. I'm such a wrestling fan that my wife was getting her hair done today. And being the sweet, loving husband that I am, I went and brought her a Popeye's chicken sandwich and a Monster Energy drink because she was feeling tired. And the lady who was dyeing my wife's hair knows that I'm a wrestling fan and started telling me about a little person wrestling show that she went to. And invited my wife and I to go with her the next time that she goes.
Yeah, I heard the main event was won by a short arm scissors.
It was better than the last. The semi-main event was a short arm clothesline.
Yeah, their favorite submission holds a figure 2.
A figure 2. That's a little tacky, Jaden.
Yes.
DK's so over our shit.
DK ain't over that cold though.
Listen to this show.
What'd you say?
So, as somebody who's had to listen more than talk today, I'm not sure why people listen to this show.
It's because we have a great community.
Yes, and we learn a lot about wrestling. And honestly, right now, again, if anybody in the NWA hears this, send me. I'll get my address. I'll put up posters everywhere. I'll send you pictures to prove it. I mean, where else you going to get talk about beaver glands and Silas Mason and thrill rides and going to Japan and China and vanilla sensies and all that other stuff.
If you keep it up, DK, we'll bring Michelle back in to host next week.
I doubt.
I know he's on mute, but
I don't. I think next week's a special week, isn't it?
Yeah, next week is the week that I'm not going to be here.
It's the week I'm not going to be here.
I'll be here. Luckily, the main event will be here.
Oh, you know what? Maybe we should have Dave Scooby see if he's available to just Jaden and Scooby it up.
I think that's a good idea. It's almost like we planned that ahead of time.
Did we? Shit. I thought I was a genius here. I was like, man, I'm so smart. Look at me.
Do I know you?
SMRT.
Everybody, you could buy your entire seat, but you're only going to need the edge when I shove a pencil in Dave Scooby's head.
Oh
we'll complete that door with a butcher on him.
Use the fork, Luke.
Use the fork, Luke.
All right, so we're starting to fall off the wheels here. Noob says tonight has been good.
Yes, Noob likes us, and we're funny.
That means I question Noob.
I should just pull up pictures of Natalia Markova, and that should boost the numbers of the show.
Well, the right picture will.
Fair.
Get the one from American Pie.
I don't have that one.
All right, how about Two Broke Girls?
No, I don't have that one either.
Put on some Kat Dennings, actually. I wouldn't mind seeing some Kat Dennings. What color are Kat Dennings' eyes, guys?
Blue. One blue that way, the other blue that way.
No, I think you're thinking of Robert Gibson. Anyway, he watches a fly with one eye and his opponent with the other. No, actually, she has turquoise eyes. Seriously.
Take your word on it.
I don't think I've ever seen her eyes directly.
Did you ever look at them?
Why would I look at her eyes?
Direction?
Have you seen Kat? Kat, what's her last name?
Kat Dennings.
Okay, in my head I knew that was right, but I was like, no, that's Kat Williams. No, that's the wrong person.
At least say Kat LaRue.
Kat LaRue.
Or Misty Blue Sims.
Misty Blue. Okay, I remember her.
Linda Dallas.
I had Misty Blue on the poster of my wall. Hey guys, I think for the sake of everyone else's sanity and the fact that I'm running on fumes and I know DKM's not feeling so great, we should probably call it a night right now. And I apologize to all of our faithful viewers who liked for us to go a little bit longer than an hour and a half, but I'm exhausted. I'm running on fumes. I know DK's not feeling well either.
Drink some Sensi. Drink some Sensi. Drink some Dubby.
I did. This was full when we started. It is now empty, and I'm still ready to fall asleep.
Do what I do. I mix my Dubby with the Gorilla Mind and/or Ghost Energy drinks.
I thought you were gonna say you mix yours with liquid cocaine because it's about the same thing. And even Noob's not feeling good, so there's even more reason for us to call it a night.
But I'm feeling like $1 million.
Well, tell you what, we could do this. We could just take DK out.
All right, everybody. Now that the real main event is going on, let's talk about the NWA. Right now, I think the NWA World Heavyweight Champion is on fire. I think he right now is the best thing in, and of course, Kat Dennings is a hottie there, Willie Bowen. If anybody doesn't agree that you don't want those people in your life, you should get them away from you as far as away from you as possible. And I really like her in Thor. I think she was great in that too. And that's really all I can think of besides Two Broke Girls I've ever seen her in. But she's pretty awesome. Anyway, so I'm really happy right now with EC3 as the NWA champion. I know a lot of the smart fans are going, oh, EC3, he doesn't do 94 Hurricane Ranas and a super kick, and then another 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 super kick. Oh my God, I'd never expect to see that again. It's another super kick. But yeah, he's really good in the ring, and I enjoy him. Yeah, he's a little slow, methodical, but he knows what he's doing. He's got the psychology down, and I think, one thing I think is really annoying me though is he needs some good challengers that I think the NWA is missing the boat on. Why are we not seeing him against? Oh crap, what's his name now? I can't remember his name. He worked for MLW. He was with MJF, and he was with Hammerstone. And he worked for Dog, and I can't think of his name to save my life right now. But he should be wrestling against EC3. I think that would be a great match. EC3 needs to also, I think, wrestle different opponents out maybe in his territory. And there's different territories that aren't NWA related necessarily, but it can get the championship out there. And I really want to see him wrestle more in All Japan Pro Wrestling. Dodie, who do you think would be other good matches you would like to see? Anyway, it was Richard Holiday is the guy I couldn't think of. Who else do you think would be a great wrestler to see against EC3? If we can go out of the NWA, I'd like to see EC3 versus Hammerstone. I think that'll be fun. And Moose. I think Moose and EC3 would be fun. I know we won't see Jacob Fatu. Hey, there's Stifler's mother. Look at those cheeks. Is she like sucking them in, or is that just naturally her cheekbones? I know most of you can't tell she has cheekbones, what is the girl behind her looking at too? Yeah, what does she look staring at?
I think you know exactly what she's staring at.
Her charisma. She's got 2 pairs of ribs right there. Anyway, that was the 75th. Mark Hovit's another person I think that needs to get pushed more. Yeah, she's just there to lose right now, and they've just put her in a bunch of stupid angles. And I think they should bring in Elias or whatever they're calling him now, Elijah, and team him up with his illegitimate twin brother, Damian Sandow, aka AJ. What's the guy's name? The manager of
Aaron Stevens.
Yeah, Aaron Stevens with it 1A, single Aaron. I think Aaron Stevens and Elijah should be teamed together now, and I think the NWA. Now I'm just giving NWA ideas, And honestly, what do you think with the 70th coming in Philadelphia? I know the Discord is very split on whether they should bring in some ECW guys, especially Shane Douglas. What did the fans think about that? Shane Douglas at the 76th, Spirit of 76. Do you think he has any go left that can make a difference? I don't know if I know he still wrestle. I haven't seen him wrestle in a while. So I don't know if he could still go in the ring, but having a presence there might mean something. I mean, they're in the arena. They got to, that they're going to bring in somebody for the ECW in there. I was hoping it's not the Blue Meanie.
I think it's going to be exactly who you don't want it to be. I think we're going to see like Blue Meanie. I'm almost positive we're going to see Bully Ray. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a whole contingent from the Busted Open radio show, because I know they broadcast out of New York, and I think a couple of them live in New York and in New Jersey. So I wouldn't be surprised if they make the trek there. As far as actual in-ring competitors, remember, it's a one-night show. It's not going to be a two-night event like it has in previous years. So I don't know that they're going to dedicate a lot of time to a contingent that is no longer really boosting the wrestling community. But like a Shane Douglas segment would be great. I think that'd be a lot of fun and a way to kind of like, even though they've already done it in some regards with other NWA promotions in the past, it'd be a nice like way to kind of give closure to the whole Shane Douglas anti-NWA rhetoric. They could put an end to that. Willie Bowen said that Raven is too old. I agree. Raven is too old. He wasn't in wrestling shape when he appeared last. And I wouldn't want to see him there. Sam Retro boos your suggestion of Shane Douglas, as well as Lutha says Shane only belongs in a dunking booth at the 76. So that's fair. Noob wants to say thanks for the photos. No problem, Noob. Like, that's kind of why I go to these shows, is to do stuff like that. Although I'm supposed to be doing it on Twitter, but hey, a live stream is fine too. But I really think we should wrap it up, Jaden. I know that you are prepared to fly, but I'm crashing, man. I gotta call it a night. Okay. All right, guys. Real quick, make sure you check out the Dog Pro Wrestling YouTube page. I'm sure Jay will put the link in the chat and maybe put it up so the TikTok can see it. But anyway, there's some stuff coming up for Dog. I don't have really a lot to say anything yet, because Dr. Zirconium will probably sue me. You Stephen Pinu. But I do know there's something maybe coming up in July that'll be recorded, maybe. And then maybe something in October. And then maybe something somewhere else if things go well. And maybe, of course, the events at Rowan's are coming up, and I know they're trying real hard to make it twice a year instead of once a year. But there's a lot of good stuff right now on the YouTube page, so make sure you check it out. I found some footage from the Dog and IWA Vintage stuff, and I'm going to ask if we can put that on the Dog page, if Dr. Zirconium gives permission, and then we can get away with it. There's some good stuff out there that I just noticed is not on the Dog page that maybe we can put up there. If you can't get it on there, you know a guy who knows a guy that runs a YouTube page. By the way, I want to say this before we say goodnight. This YouTube page, if you're on the Alliance blog right now, celebrates its 6th birthday. We've been doing this for 6 years on YouTube now, so that, to me, is quite remarkable. When this thing started out, we never had envisioned it being a video show. We always kind of thought this was going to just be an audio podcast, and here we are 6 years now later, over 4,000 subscribers. And that's because you guys keep this show fun. You jump in here, you give your take, you have fun with us, you allow us to be dorks, and I appreciate it. So thank you to each and every one of you who've been a part of that 4,000 strong. If you still haven't subscribed to the channel yet and you're watching, subscribe, man. Doesn't hurt. And, Jay, what made you want to get on YouTube 6 years ago for this? Honestly, it was the way the world was churning. We when I started the whole Alliance Wrestling thing, everything was written. Even my interviews were written. And the trend was at that point, and it's crazy to think about this 10 years ago, like you needed a podcast. Everyone needed a podcast. And there's probably more podcasts today than there were 10 years ago. But, we jumped on that trend. We were like, we're going to do podcasts. And it was fun and it was informative. But like at the same time, people wanted to see video. YouTube was picking up. People wanted to be on videos. And, YouTube makes it very easy for you to produce this content. It's not difficult, but I got some advice from people within the content creation industry, and it was like, you need to have video. People want to put faces to the voices that they hear. So, here's my face. Jaden, unfortunately, because he's part of the Witness Relocation Program, can't put his face out there. But just know that
I'm too pretty.
He's a handsome devil.
I'm too pretty. I'm a bad man. We don't need a Dave Dahl podcast. We need Dave Dahl versus Tyrus in the middle of the sun.
Oh my God. Dodie wants me to do a TikTok dance. Dun, 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 dun. All right. You guys, you are the best.
One of the songs, right?
I think it is.
Yeah, I'm very happy you at least got one of the TikTok songs right. I mean, it was one from like 4 years ago, but still.
Hey, I spend 4 hours a week talking about the NWA, a promotion whose heyday was like 5 years after I was born. So you can't come to me expecting like hot takes on what's happening today. I'm down with what happened 20 years ago. My favorite era of music is grunge music of the 90s. I'm still going to Pearl Jam concerts and enjoying the hell out of them. That's a good concert, by the way.
Piper and Claire, please teach your dad some TikTok dances. Please.
Luthes says, dull on a pole match. Loser has to clean the pole. Oh, good night, everybody. Jaden, anything else? We're going to wrap it up. We got to go.
Yeah. Yes. Subscribe to the dog YouTube page.
The dog YouTube, youtube.com/dog pro wrestling. That's DAWG, dog pro wrestling. And until next time, we'll see you guys at the match. Thanks for joining the stream. This has been a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. We genuinely appreciate your support. Would you consider subscribing so you'll never miss a future episode? I'd also like to remind you we do a live stream every Tuesday at 5 p.m. before NWA Power. You can find us on social media at The Alliance Blog. And